this part is regarding parking strategies, but actually there is a very big side of the infrastructure aspect in it as well. And I will try to explain it a little bit more in detail. It also captures some parts of why good practices do not often work in other locations. I think this is a very interesting topic in my opinion. So basically, I will start from a very far topic, which is food. Sorry for that. Most of the times when we want something nice to eat, we actually look at our, well, in ideal world, we should look at our budget, go to the shop, then we just buy whatever we have, because we have already allocated the resource for that. In real life, we actually sometimes do not have the resource for what we want, and as a result, we get something different. And what it has to do to good practices is that basically, if we replace the resource with our land use strategies and our land use resources in general, if we have a problem, and if we do not look at the resource properly and straight away go to good practices and try to implement them, we still have that problem in place, the one we had. But however, to be honest, more often we have a different situation. I mean, I have 10 years of experience in transport planning and engineering in a lot of locations around the world. And I've seen a different story when actually people, transport engineers and authorities actually miss the part of allocating resources and actually understanding what do they need, and they straight away after the problem they go to good practices worldwide and try to implement that, and unfortunately that never ends up well.
So you mean about the resource allocations, that yes, we have the situation, we would like Tallinn to be a cycle city, but we don't really plant money for it, and that's why it's difficult to implement it, or what?
No, I'm not talking about money, to be honest. I'm going to the resource part. It's going to be like the next slide. What I'm giving you right now on the slide is basically 6 different cities with their infrastructure. Infrastructure mapping from about 500 meters distance, basically. And I don't know whether you see the slide correctly. You can straight away see that the density of intersections, the density of infrastructure in various cities we usually compare ourselves to is very different from Tallinn, especially when we are taking like London or Copenhagen. And that's actually a problem because on the picture we have Mustamäe in Tallinn, which is probably one of the most ideal infrastructure from the infrastructure perspective, like locations in Tallinn in general. And this is a small table sheet I made the other day exactly for this presentation, which just gives you a bright overview of where we are in Europe in general. And one very unique characteristic is land allocated to streets, which pretty much gives us an understanding what proportion of land is actually allocated to streets and infrastructure where we can actually move. And the number I have for one unit of any vehicle is 83 meters. If you think I do not know how to use a calculator and calculate things wrong, then according to official statistics, we have something like 9.5 million square meters of road infrastructure, and try to divide it by 210,000 vehicles registered in Tallinn, and you're gonna have like 45 square meters per one vehicle, which actually means that sometimes we just cannot take out one street somewhere and replace it with a cycle lane, unfortunately. However, if you look at what's happening at the moment, we are actually trying to push personal vehicles out, for example, from the city center. If you look at recent reconstructions made on Pärnu a couple of years back, I mean, we are actually trying our best to shift this part away. And yeah, what I'm trying to say is that basically we have drastic problem with infrastructure allocations, but that's mainly due to land use problems. Yeah, in most locations we can provide a perfectly well like cycle path, but there is always this narrow bottleneck where you just cannot integrate the whole path to the entire network, and those are actually the problem spots we are facing at the moment, and we are trying our best to actually deal with that. I will not show you the